Okay, I am going to walk you through how to use your paper plate unit circle and find the sine and cosine values at various angles. So the first one we're going to look at is the sine of 45 degrees. What we want to do is, I'm going to zoom in here, we want to find our triangle that has a reference angle of 45 degrees. And as you can see as I'm spinning, this is the one I'm choosing. The terminal side of this angle has a reference angle of 45 degrees, which means he is his reference angle. You want to make sure that you align either the short or the long leg of the triangle with the x-axis. So since the sine is the y value, I'm going to look at this triangle. What is the y value? What's the y coordinate? It is square root of 2 over 2. So over here, my sine of 45 degrees is the square root of 2 over 2. Okay, the next one I'm going to use is 5 pi over 6. Well, we need to know what reference angle we're going to use with 5 pi over 6. I know it's going to be 30 or 60 because 6 goes into 180, so I'm not going to use my 45, 45, 90 triangles. I'm going to come over and look at a 60 degree or a 30 degree and line it up with 5 pi over 6. Sorry guys, I'm trying to record all at once and do this. Okay, so it's this one. So here we go. My long leg is along the x-axis, and you can see that my reference angle here is 30 degrees. So the corner of my triangle is at 5 pi over 6, and let's figure out what the cosine is. So that was my next problem, the cosine of 5 pi over 6. The cosine is the x-coordinate. Well, on our handmade unit circle, this is the x-coordinate. This distance here is the x distance, and it's the square root of 3 over 2. However, I have to say that it's negative. Negative square roots of 3 over 2, because over here in quadrant 2, all my x values are negative. All right, let's try another one. Why don't you write down the sine of 300. 300 will be easy to find on my unit circle. And if we're looking for the sine, we know the sine is the y value. So I'm going to look for the y coordinate at 300 degrees. So I'm going to take my triangle and I want to align it up so it's not this one because he doesn't align up at 300 degrees. Ooh, it's this triangle. So I'm going to align the short leg with the x-axis, and I'm going to have it pointing at 300 degrees. And the sine is the y value. What is the y coordinate here? Well, this is the vertical distance. It's the square root of 3 over 2. And that is negative because the y values in quadrant 4 are negative. Okay? So my sine at 300, my y coordinate is negative 3 over 2. Negative red 3 over 2. All right, last one. We're going to look at the cosine of 5 pi over 4. So since it's 5 pi over 4, I know we're looking at a 45, 45, 90 triangle. I'm going to go look at 5 pi over 4, and I'm going to swing around until I get the right triangle to line up. And it's this one. So my leg is along the x-axis. The point of my triangle is at 5 pi over 4. So what is the cosine at 5 pi over 4? It's the x. It's the length of the triangle along the x here. So that's the square root of 2 over 2. So the cosine value at 5 pi over 4 is the square root of 2 over 2. And that is positive because the x coordinates over here in quadrant 3, ooh, I'm sorry, are negative. I'm lying to you. Let's make that negative. My x-coordinates are negative. Good catch. So the important thing to remember is you line up either the short leg or the long leg with the x-axis. You never line up the hypotenuse. That is a big no. We never ever do that. Okay? So this is how you use your handmade unit circle to find your coordinates, your sine and cosine at different angles around your plate.